Hello everyone, my name is Winters and welcome to Winters Budget Builds. Today we are going to cover the D7 Miracle Worker Flight Deck Carrier Tier 6. In this episode we are going to start off with weapons, gear and equipment. Then we're going to move on to the skill tree and of course the specializations. From there we will move on to the traits and bridge officer abilities, and then the bridge officers themselves, and then on to the Judy Officers. Finally, we will finish up the episode by playing a patrol mission so that you guys can actually see what this build is like in battle. And before we finish up the episode, of course, we will also give this build a fun factor rating. So, I've never been a fan of the D7, but this particular D7 I absolutely love. I think it's a beautiful looking ship. I don't know what it is, but it's just absolutely beautiful. I really like the look of this ship. Of course, this is the D7 from Discovery. So I suppose, yeah, it's got a more modern look to it. I don't know if it's the material, but, you know, generally it still looks very similar to the original, but there's just something about it, and I'm a big fan of it. Yeah, I just can't quite put my finger on it. Anyway, let's jump into the episode and start talking about the actual build. So first up, we have the Nausicaan Disruptor Beam Array, Mark 15. We are using this in conjunction with the, the Nausicaan Energy Siphon, or Siphon Capacitor, sorry. Nausicaan Siphon Capacitor. We will talk about that in a little while, and the 2-piece set bonus. Next up we have the the Nausicaan Disruptor Beam Array comes from the story mission Echoes of Light. That's where you can pick up that bad boy. He will come Mark 12 very rare. I've got this up to Mark 15 very rare so far, but it comes at Mark 12 very rare. Next up we have the Experimental Romulan Disruptor Beam Array. We are using this in conjunction with the 0-point energy conduit. We will talk about that in a little while, and the 2-piece set bonus. You need tier 6 in the Romulan reputation in order to be able to pick this up. Then we have advanced disruptor beam arrays, and we have 3 of those up front. These are the actual weapons that come with this ship. They're unique to the D7 Miracle Worker Flight Deck Carrier. They're absolutely fantastic. They're really, really good weapons. And I've decided to run with them rather than going for fleet weapons. So if you've got the ship, you have access to these weapons anyway. So they come with it. I haven't had to spend any dilithium or anything to get these. They just came with the ship. I upgraded them. That's it. Job done. Moving on. Deflector, we have the Iconium Resistance Deflector. This comes from Tier 2 in the Iconian reputation. We're using this in conjunction with the Iconian Resistance Hyper Injection Warp Core. The Warp Core, you need Tier 4 in the Iconian reputation to be able to pick up this bad boy. We are using these 2 pieces for the 2-piece set bonus, which is Enhanced Shield Distribution. Distribute Shields applies 207.4 shield regeneration for 5 seconds to each facing once triggered. Goes on a 30-second cooldown. So to demonstrate that, when you click on your ship down here, this little icon down here that says 100%, when you click on this, it redistributes your shield strength. So let's say your front facing shield is 100% depleted, or 25% depleted, or 50% depleted, whatever. It will, when you click on here, it'll pull shield power from your left, right, and aft shields, or port, starboard, and aft shields, and it will put it into your front-facing shield. So that's what redistribute shield strength means, or what it does. Now when I click on this, an aura will come around the ship, and that represents a shield heal, like so. here's the aura, and that's actually a shield heal, and it's a really, really good one. And it's got me out of a lot of sticky situations. When my shield power has been low, I just quickly hit that there, and I get a little bit of a heal on my shields. And believe me, it can make a difference. It really, really can. So that's why we're using that 2-piece set bonus there. Moving on to the Impulse engine, we're using the Bajor Defense Hyper Impulse engines. This engine comes from the story mission Scylla and Charybdis. Excuse me. We're using this in conjunction with the Bajor Defense Covariant Shield Array. The 2-piece set bonus that we're getting from using these 2 pieces is 19% Disruptor damage. Absolutely massive. Huge Disruptor damage buff there. Of course, it also boosts Phaser and Plasma, but this is a Disruptor build, so we're getting 19% to Disruptor damage there, just for using these 2 pieces here. Moving on to Aft Weapons. Oh, did I say the Bajor Defense Shield also comes from the story mission Scylla and Charybdis? So that's where both of those come from. Scylla and Charybdis for the engine and shield, and Iconian Rep for Deflector and Warp Core. Excuse me. Next, we have Omnidirectional Disruptor Beam Array. This comes from crafting. You need level 15 in the Beam School to be able to craft this bad boy. You can pick up Omnidirectional Disruptor Beam Array off the exchange at the moment for about 1.4 million energy credits. So very cheap. Not that difficult at all. In fact, you don't even have to go for... always go for the cheapest one, because you can mod this later on down the road to have whatever modifiers you want on it. So you can get one with the worst modifiers that are out there for really, really cheap, and you can just mod it yourself later and make it really, really good. So 1.4 million off the exchange at the moment for Omnidirectional Disruptor Beam Array. Next, we have the Kinetic Cutting Beam. We are using this in conjunction with the Assimilated module. We'll talk about that shortly. Here shortly, and the 2-piece set bonus that we get from it. The Kinetic Cutting Beam, you need Tier 2 in the Task Force Omega reputation to be able to pick up that bad boy. The Kinetic Cutting Beam, while we're talking about it, another reason why it's very good to have the Kinetic Cutting Beam, actually there's 2 reasons. One is for whenever you get the Endeavor that wants you to deal kinetic damage, you will, through normal gameplay, or at least this is my experience, be able to rack up that kinetic damage really, really easily just through normal gameplay. So always handy to have the Kinetic Cutting Beam on nearly every build that you put together. I would say I have it on like 90% of my builds, the Boar Kinetic Cutting Beam. Also, another reason that it's very handy to have the Kinetic Cutting Beam is if you ever run into the Aceton Assimilators. And Aceton Assimilators absorb energy, so if you fire on them with energy weapons, you're not going to do any damage, because it absorbs that energy and then it puts it back out in radiation and damages your ship if you're close enough. But the Kinetic Cutting Beam does kinetic damage, not energy damage, and it will take out that Aceton Assimilator for you. So another good reason why to always have a Kinetic Cutting Beam on any build. Alright, moving on. Finally, for Aft Weapons, we have the House Martok Disruptor 360-degree energy weapon. This comes from the story mission Brushfire, and we are using this in conjunction with the House Martok Defensive Configuration console. We will talk about that 2-piece set bonus in a little while, as well as the console. So that's weapons and equipment there. Devices, red mag capacitor we have here. You need a very rare Phoenix token to be able to pick that up, and I've also got the Temporal Negotiator, which comes from Delta Recruit. It's a bridge officer power recharge reduction by 50%. It's handy to have. It's not a must-have by any means, but I had it, so I threw it on. I would also throw in there, but I don't have it yet, is the Subspace Field Modulator, which comes from the mission Skirmish. It's a damage resistance buff, and very handy to have on any build. I just haven't got it on this one yet. And for your fourth device, I don't know, maybe a turret or something like that. If you wanted, you could throw in a turret there, or batteries even, they would work. Anyway, let's move on to consoles. So, first up, we have the Assimilated Module. The Assimilated Module comes from Tier 1 in the Task Force Omega reputation. Like I said earlier, we are using this along with the Kinetic Cutting Beam. And the two-piece set bonus is Omega Weapon Amplifier. 2.5% chance when firing energy weapons to gain Omega Weapon Amplifier for 5 seconds. And that is plus 10 to weapons power, plus 500 weapon power during resistance, and minus 500% weapon power cost. So what that means is, for a single firing volley, your weapons will fire at maximum potential, dealing heavy damage to the target. So yeah, really, really good. This gives plus 1.2% critical chance, plus 11.5% crit severity, plus 5 weapon power, plus 6.3 Starship damage control, and plus 28.6 Starship control expertise. So a good console there. Next up, we have the Hydrodynamics Compensator. This comes from Tier 1 in 8472 or Undine reputation. It gives plus 3 engine power, plus 3 auxiliary power, plus 21.6 Starship weapon accuracy, and plus 28.9 flight turn rate. So it's actually helping our turn rate. This is why I put this on here, because we're in a cruiser. Well, we're in a carrier, but it's also like a cruiser. It's a big, fat, heavy ship, so it's helping with that. Sure, I could have gone with an RCS accelerator, but I wouldn't get the other buffs, which is the engine and auxiliary power and the weapon accuracy, so I decided to go with the Hydrodynamics Compensator. Next up, we have the 0-point energy conduit. This comes from Tier 1 in the Romulan reputation. It gives plus 2.3 power to all subsystems, plus 24.6 Starship control expertise, plus 2.3% critical chance. And the two-piece set bonus is Plasma Conductive Circuitry, which is plus 10% Disruptor energy weapon damage, just for having that energy weapon and this console. And plus 20 Starship Electroplasma System flow. So yeah, a good buff there with the two-piece set bonus. Next up, we have the Bioneural Gel Pack. This comes from Tier 1 in the Delta reputation. Plus 2.5 power to all subsystems, plus 24.8 Starship shield capacity, 7% cooldown reduction on bridge officer abilities. So really, really nice there. You can use your bridge officer abilities that little bit sooner. Next up, we have House Martok Defensive Coordination. This gives plus 11.9% maximum hit points, plus 5.9 shield power setting, plus 5.9 engine power setting, 8.9% maximum shield capacity, and plus 19% flight turn rate. So again, helping with our turn rate there. As I said earlier, we're using this in conjunction with the omnidirectional beam array, and the two-piece set bonus is plus 2.5% critical chance, really nice, plus 15 accuracy rating. It's a positive, it's a plus, it's adding to the build, it's not game-changing in any way, so it's not doing any harm to the build, so why not have it on there? That critical chance, though, is really, really nice. Anything to jack that up always improves a build. Next up, we have the Sustained Radiant Field. This comes from Tier 1 in the Iconian reputation, plus 25% bonus to outgoing hull heals, plus 12.5% all weapon damage, and plus 25% to bonus shield, plus 25% to bonus shield heals. Sorry about that. So radius the damage, the bonus damage there. That's why we're using this console. Yeah, alright, moving on. Next up we have the Science Console Nausicaan Siphon Capacitor, plus 37.4 Starship Drain Expertise, plus 31.7 Power Transfer Rate, and plus 23.8 Disruptor Damage. That is why we're using this console, because it's a science console, but it also boosts Disruptor damage output, which is really, really nice. Like I said earlier, we're using this in conjunction with the Nausicaan Beam Array, and the 2-piece set bonus is Disruptor net gains 881 Disruptor damage for every 1 second for 5 seconds, in addition to its normal effect. Nausicaan Energy Weapon Augmentation is what that 2-piece set bonus is called. I'm trying to think. I don't think I actually put that on my tray. Did I? No, never mind. Alright. That comes from the story mission Echoes of Light as well, just the same as the Nausicaan Disruptor Beam Array. And it comes at Mark 12 very rare. As you can see, I've got this at Mark 15 very rare now. Next up, a favourite of mine, the Plasmonic Leech, which gives plus 0.75 all power levels to self per stack for 15 seconds, stacks up to 10 times, and minus 1.4 all power levels to target per stack for 15 seconds, stacks up to 10 times. So basically, it takes power from your current target that you are firing upon and gives it to you as bonus power, which ultimately increases your power levels. Now, while we're talking about power levels, I just remembered that I actually skipped over something that I didn't talk about when I should have, and it was in reference to the Iconium Resistance Hyper Injection Warp Core. As you can see, this is an ultra rare item, or it is upgraded to ultra rare, which means it gets the amp modifier. Any warp core that gets upgraded to ultra rare always gets the amp modifier, with about like 1% of an exception. There's like 1 or 2 warp cores that do not follow that rule, but this is one of them. The amp modifier, if you look, where is it here? If you look down around here when I mouse over the warp core, you will see that it says plus 3.3% all damage per subsystem with 75 or more power. Okay, so what that means is for each one of these subsystems, and you have 4 of them here, weapons, shields, engines, and auxiliary. For each one that reaches 75 power or more, or anything above it, you will get an additional 3.3%. Now, with the Plasmonic Leech, you can see the power level for this one is 76, so I'm getting a buff there from that one. What did the warp core actually say? It should be 6.6. Total, yes, 6.6%. So I'm getting 6.6% now because this is at 76 and this is at 122. This one, the engines, is at 72 and the auxiliary is at 72 as well. But when we get in combat, all 4 of these will increase, bringing all 4 of them above 75 power, which means that's an additional 13.2% bonus damage just for having my power levels right, and the main reason why we are running with the Plasmonic Leech, because it increases those power levels. If there was something better that would give more power than this bad boy, I would be using it. The Plasmonic Leech comes from the ship vendor when you purchase the Vandal Destroyer, which, if I remember correctly, is a tier 3 ship. I can't remember how much dilithium it costs, but it's not a huge amount. That's where you get the Plasmonic Leech on the KDF side. Moving on to tactical consoles, we are using Vulnerability Locators, Disruptor variant, and each one gives plus 37.5% Disruptor damage. And we have got 4 of them. We've got 3 here, and in our Universal console slot we are also running another one. So that's 4 tactical consoles that we have got on this build, each one given plus 37.5% Disruptor damage. Now, each one of these also comes with plus 1.9% critical chance. Now, why did we go for critical chance over critical severity? If we look, I bet you I do, yeah, okay. If we look at this weapon here, okay, and where is it on here? Alright, roughly around here, when I mouse over it, keep your eyes down around here. you will see it says plus 80% crit severity. Okay? And if you look here, you can see that we have crit D times 4. So some simple math, each crit D modifier, and there's 4 of them, gives us 20% crit severity. Okay? Each modifier, 20% crit severity. Now, if you purchased a vulnerability exploiter, which also gives critical severity buff, when it's fully upgraded to Mark 15 Epic, it gives you something like 9.3% crit severity, or crit damage, whatever way you want to call it. Whereas a single crit D modifier on a weapon gives 20%. So if you're going jacking up your critical chance and your critical severity to, you know, what they should be at, you're better off going for your crit severity on your weapons, because you get 20% for each crit D modifier, and jack up your crit chance as much as possible via your tactical consoles and any other means that is available to you. And we will talk a little bit more about that later on in the video, or in this episode. So basically you always jack up your crit chance with your tactical consoles, and that's the reason why. Finally, for gear and equipment, we have the Hangar Pets Elite Tactical Attack Fighter Squadrons. You need tier 5 in your science or communications array on your fleet starbase in order to be able to purchase elite tactical, well, Hangar Pets actually. And of course, fleet pets are the best pets out there. They are elite quality, and that's ultimately the highest quality that you can get. The dilithium store pets are only very rare in quality, so they're advanced. But fleet pets are elite quality, which is higher than advanced. And these bad boys are absolutely fantastic. There's so much fun on this build as well, actually. Just little FYI there. They're brilliant. I love them. Okay, so that is weapons, gear, and equipment. Next, we're going to move on to the skill tree. So nothing too unusual with this, except for maybe 2 or 3 things. It's pretty standard, to be perfectly honest with you. So we're going to gloss over it here. 2 points hull capacity, 2 points shield capacity, 3 points energy weapon training. Then we have 2 points defensive maneuvering, 2 points targeting expertise, 2 points drain expertise, and 2 points electroplasma system flow. Then we have 2 points in hull plating, 3 points in shield hardness, 3 points in weapon amplification, and 3 points in weapon specialization. Then we have 3 points in shield penetration, 3 points in hull penetration, 3 points in long-range targeting sensors, 3 points in offensive subsystem tuning, and 3 points in defensive subsystem tuning. Then we have 2 points in warp core potential, and here's where the difference is from most other builds. We have 3 points in coordination protocols, and the reason why we're running with these 3 points is because we actually have pets. That's what these points are for. They're for your pets mainly. And that's why we're running with those. So yeah, as you can see, they're very similar to other skill trees, just with a few little tweaks, because we are doing a build with pets or on a carrier. Specializations. We are using pilot for our primary, basically because of the bonus turn rate that we get. See this turn rate here? Plus 40% turn rate. And that's the main reason why we're using it. I could have gone with Miracle Worker. I could have gone with maybe Intelligent. Miracle Worker would have been the better one. Maybe Command, actually. And we're also using Strategist for our secondary, which, of course, when you have 15 points, you get maximum shield capacity by 10%. Traits. Okay, let's move on to traits. First up, we have Advanced Rapid Support. Then we have Bulkhead Technician. Then we have Innocuous. Then we have Last Ditched Effort. Then we have Operative. Then we have Superior Accurate. This trait is upgraded at K13, your K13 fleet holding for 100,000 fleet credits. Then we're using Superior Beam Training, again upgraded at K13 for 100,000 fleet credits. Next up is Superior Elusive, once again upgraded at K13 for 100,000 fleet credits. And finally we have Superior Techie, again upgraded at K13 for 100,000 fleet credits. Starship Traits. First up, we have Improved Critical Systems. This comes from the Temporal Recruitment event, plus critical chance and crit damage after using an Emergency Power to Bridge Officer ability. Next we have Improved Temporal Insight, Improved Immunity from Hull Heals. This comes from the Delta Recruitment event, a really good trait there. Then we have Improved Unconventional Tactics. Bracer Impact grants damage buff. And this comes from spending 15 points in the Strategist specialization, and it is upgraded to Improved from the Gamma Recruitment event. The normal one is just Unconventional Tactics, and if you completed the appropriate goal, task is the word I suppose I'm looking for. If you complete the appropriate task in the Gamma Recruitment event, it upgrades the trait to Improved, and just makes it that little bit better. Next up we have Superior Pedal to the Metal, increased damage from full throttle. This comes from spending 30 points in the Pilot specialization tree. And finally then we have the Ruin of Our Enemies, plus damage and recharge on defeating foes. And this is actually the Starship trait that comes with the D7 Miracle Worker Flight Deck Carrier. That's where you get that bad boy from, and a good trait. Space Reputation traits. We are using excuse me, Advanced Targeting Systems, increased crit severity, comes from Dyson Reputation. Then we have Destabilizing Phase Array, trigger damage immunity when hit, comes from Iconian Reputation. Then we have Enhanced Armor Penetration. Ship weapons have increased armor penetration, comes from Delta Reputation. Then we have Enhanced Shield Penetration, minor shield penetration, comes from Nukara Reputation. And then we have Magnified Firepower, plus all weapon damage, which comes from Gamma Reputation. All of these traits are rank 2, which means that you need to get tier 6 in all of the reputations in order to be able to use the rank 2 versions of these traits. Active Reputation. First up we have Anti-Time Entanglement. Shrinking AoE damage hazard slows and holds foes. This is rank 2. Then we have Biomolecular Shield Generator, Area Shield Damage Reduction and Shield Regeneration, rank 2 again. Then we have Deploy Sensor Interference Platform, Deploy Sensor Interference Platform, Taunt and Damage Debuff, and that's rank 2 again as well. Then we have Quantum Singularity Manipulation, Cloaking and Enhances Shield Powers. The last one then is Refracting Tetrion Cascade, PB AoE Chain Tetrion Damage. Alright, that's traits. Next up, Bridge Officer abilities. Okay, so this ship is just laid out perfectly for me and my playstyle, and I absolutely love it. So first of all, when a ship has a 5-3 loadout, I love it. Especially if I'm going putting beams on it, because if I can put beams on it, then it means I can fit 3 omnidirectionals on the back. So when I'm flying towards my target, I have 8 weapons on target, and I don't have to do broadsides. I can just fly whatever way I want. I have a 270-degree arc to keep the targets in, and yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. The other thing that I really like is when I have at least 2 tactical Lieutenant Commander seats, which this does. It has 1 Lieutenant Commander tactical here, and it has 1 Lieutenant Commander universal here, which I have made tactical. So as you can see, we are using Attack Team 1 twice in both of those seats. Then we're using Attack Pattern Beta 1 in those seats. And then we have a Beam Fire at Will 3 and a Beam Overload 3. The reason why we don't have 2 Beam Fire at Will 3s or 2 Beam Overload 3s is when I click on this... am I going to... No, I'm not going to be able to show it. If I had... So, the global cooldown for Beam Fire at Will is 20 seconds. Whereas Attack Pattern Beta and Attack Team are 15 seconds. Like so, if I click on this, you'll see this will go on a global cooldown of 15 seconds. But for Beam Fire at Will, it's a 20-second cooldown. So if I had 2 Beam Fire at Wills, it would throw everything out of whack. Everything else will be off cooldown before the second Beam Fire at Will would. So hopefully I didn't lose you there with that. But trust me, that's the reason why I alternate it. And it's not that bad of an idea either. Because then you can attack the way you want to attack, you know? Do you want to focus your damage and take out a single target? Or, you know... what happens if you end up in like the Swarm, for example, and you're dealing with crap tons of swarmers and you need to take them all out, or you want to, you know, take out loads of target or work on loads of targets at the same time? This provides you the flexibility to fight the way you want and the way you need to. So that's why I really like this setup. Then we'll start off or move on to engineering. Then we have an emergency power to shields 1 in our commander engineering. Then it's emergency power to weapons 2, an engineering team 3, which is unusual for me. I don't usually do that, but I did this build. And finally, directed energy modulation 3. Science, we have a tachyon beam, which basically strips shields from your currently selected target. That's what that does. And in our Lieutenant Universal seat, we have a transfer shield strength 1 and a hazard emitters 2, which of course is a shield heal and a hull heal. The bridge officers themselves, we have 3 Jem'Hadar bridge officers. This guy, and this guy. And we'll find them here. 1, 2, and 3. Yep. And as you can see, they're all Jem'Hadar bridge officers. And if we click on traits, this is the reason why we're using them. All 3 of them come with the trait Engineered Soldier, which is a space trait represented by this little icon here. And it basically gives plus crit and crit severity increased damage. So each one gives plus 5% all weapon damage, plus 1% critical chance, and plus 2.5% crit severity. Each one of those giving that buff, and they stack. Those bridge officers come from the Delta Quadrant pack. Delta Quadrant expansion pack. That's where you can pick those up. Those bridge officers become an account unlock, so you can use them on every single character on your account, which is fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant. For our remaining tactical station, we are using a superior Romulan operative. We're using this guy because he comes with the trait, against space, superior Romulan operative. And he gives plus crit and crit severity, reduced cloak cooldown, plus 2% critical chance, plus 5% crit severity, and plus 15% power recharge speed for cloaking. You can pick up a superior Romulan operative from the Fleet Embassy if you are not a Romulan. You need to go for the rare male tactical bridge officer. And when you pick him up, he will turn very rare, i.e. purple. Alright, you can see here, look, purple text. Alright, he's a purple quality Judy or bridge officer. Finally then, we have Mr. Potato Head. We're using this guy because he actually comes with 2 Starship Traits, which is very unusual. One being efficient, which we're not really taking much advantage of. But the second one, Pirate, we are, which is bonus damage and perception, plus 1.5% bonus all damage, and plus 150 Starship Stealth. Efficient is plus 7.5 Starship Warp Core efficiency. Basically improves power levels when low. Our power levels are not that low, so we're not really benefiting from that anyway. Alright, that's the Bridge Officers. Let's move on to Judy Officers. So we'll open up the Judy Officer window, we'll click on Roster. Active Space. First up, we have a Warfare Master. This guy is a Gamma recruitment reward for completing the appropriate task in the Gamma Recruit event. Really, really good. Really good guy. All damage. Increased damage versus all enemies. Then we have a Shield Distribution Officer. He comes from the Delta Quadrant expansion pack. Then we have a Warp Core Engineer. Chance of temporarily improving your ship's power on use of any emergency power ability. And they are currently going for 500k on the exchange. So 500,000 energy credits on the exchange they're going for at the moment. Then we have a Damage Control Engineer. Chance to reduce the recharge time for emergency power to subsystem abilities. They are currently going for 900k or 900,000 energy credits on the exchange. Then we have a Flight Deck Officer. Reduce the time to recharge hangar bays and boarding parties. This, I actually bought the last one off the exchange. So I actually can't give you a price. Because there's none left on the exchange to purchase. But I'm sure that they will become available again. It's just there's none currently on there now. Finally, then we have an Astrometric Scientist. Recharge time reduced on all transwarp abilities. And for me, pretty much a must-have on every character, because I use my transwarp an awful lot. They're currently going for 350k. Excuse me. They're currently going for 350,000 energy credits on the exchange. Yeah, right, okay. That is the Judy Officers. So, now we are going to test out this bad boy. Actually, before we do that, I need to change difficulty to Advanced. And then we go to Patrols. And we're going to go to our favorite patrol, Sentinels. And we're going to launch it and jump in. Just a beautiful looking ship. Absolutely beautiful looking ship. Let's launch our pets. Alright, unleash hell. And we should start to see pops. Yep, already happening. Look at all those pets just firing. Look, everything taken out. So, as you probably have already guessed, I really like this ship. I'll be honest with you, I didn't think I was going to like this ship as much as I really did turn out to like it. Because like I said at the start of this episode, I've never been a fan of the D7. But I got this ship, and I put the build on it, and I started playing with it. Doing story missions, doing TFOs and whatnot. And I fell in love with it. Absolutely, 100% just fell in love with it. And I have had so much fun with this, it is absolutely crazy. And I have to give this ship a 10 out of 10 fun factor rating. It is just brilliant. The pets, I would have to say, are probably a big part of that fun. Because, I mean, look, it looks exactly like it did on the show. You know, like all these pets firing just crazy amounts of firepower. And, yeah, I freely admit that. It is probably the pets that I'm enjoying most of all. But, of course, you need to have this ship in order to be able to have those pets. And, yeah, I'm giving this ship a 10 out of 10 fun factor rating. It's ticking all the boxes for me, but I just, it's got the survivability, the way I've built the ship, it's got the maneuverability, it's got the firepower, and the pets are just absolutely fantastic on it, and yeah, it's ticking all the boxes for me, and I love it. It is such a great ship, and a really, really good build. So yeah, 10 out of 10 fun factor rating for the D7 Miracle Worker Flight Deck Carrier. Yeah, I love it. And I am so confident if you ever pick up, or if you have one of these ships, you will probably agree with that as well. It is just so much fun. Oh wow, we actually got rid of them before I even realized. Excellent. Okay, let's kick into full impulse. We'll go over this way. So yeah, you can see, like, you know, we're not having any trouble dispatching the enemies here at all. We're getting through them really, really quick. I mean, who wouldn't love to fly a ship with that much firepower coming out of it from all its pets? Is my inventory? No, my inventory can't be full. Must be lag that's slowing me down. Anyway, yeah, I absolutely love the ship. It's so much fun. It really caught me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to like this ship as much as I turned out to like it. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Because it's nice to be surprised. It's really, really nice to be surprised like that. Never mind the aesthetics. It's just so much fun. I mean, look at this. I'm taking so much heat here, and it's barely scratching my shields. And I'm throwing out just as much as I'm taking, and not struggling to take out enemies or anything. You know, a few seconds it's all it's taken to take out any of the enemies. So you can see what I mean by it's got the firepower. Like, it can totally handle its own, no problem. Alright, how far are we? 16. Alright, let's get a little... Take out the final group here. And you can see as well, with my maneuvering here, like obviously with all the consoles and boosts and things that I'm using, maneuverability is really good in this ship. Now, if I wasn't using pilot specialization, and if I didn't have the Hydrodynamics Compensator or the House Martok console, sure, I wouldn't be nearly as maneuverable as I am. But this is a cruiser, and with all that stuff, it's got maneuverability, which is fantastic. Because you wouldn't normally expect that in a ship like this, but it works out really, really well. Anyway, yeah, that's the end of the episode, folks. Thank you so much for checking out this video. I really, really appreciate your support so much. You have no idea. There is a link to this build in the description below that you can check out. Now, before I forget, these weapons, the Advanced Disruptor Beam Arrays, for some reason are not available on STO Academy, so I just use normal generic beam arrays in place of the advanced ones, because they're just not available. Nothing I can do about that. So you've been told. All right, advanced disruptor beam arrays are not an option on STO Academy. They're just not available. So I'm just using normal disruptor beams in place of it. But yes, there is a link to this build below in the description. If you have any requests for builds you would like me to do, feel free to leave a comment on this video. And if I have the ship, I will endeavor to do a build video for you. Thank you everyone who has already put in requests for build videos. I am working on those as we speak, and there will be those videos will be coming out in due course. And yeah, again, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate your support. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. If you like this video, please leave a like by clicking the thumbs up. That would really help me out a lot, because the more interactions I can get you guys to do on videos and on my channel makes a huge difference for me and helps populate my content on other people's searches, and really helps when you get you to interact either by leaving a comment or a like. Yeah, so my name is Winters, and I'll catch you next time. So until then, take care.